Hey gamers, Maniac here with GameAccess.net. Doing something a little bit different. I know I've been playing a lot of Let's Plays as of recently on my site. I've been playing through Final Fantasy X on the PlayStation 4. But I felt that now was the time to kind of branch off and do some other stuff. Well, I still plan on continuing my Final Fantasy X Let's Play and continuing to post videos on this YouTube channel. I felt like the time was right for me to start branching out into other content, and in particular, I felt like now was the time for me to get finally immersed in Dungeons & Dragons. The reason why I wanted to do this is because the Connecticut GamerCon is coming up at Mohegan Sun on April 1st and April 2nd, and I am going to be attending that event. And while that event is going to be carrying things like video games and cosplay, it's also going to be catering to the pen and paper RPG players, which is great. But I have very little real-world experience with pen and paper RPGs. I've been putting off learning Dungeons & Dragons for quite a while, mostly because I never really grew up with it. My knowledge of Dungeons & Dragons is usually related to the online webcomic Table Titans, any conversations that most people have online about their favorite Dungeons & Dragons stories, a couple of documentaries that I've seen on the internet, retrospectives and that sort of thing, personal retrospectives, and the Netflix documentary The Dwarvenaut, where if you have a Netflix account, I totally recommend checking it out if you're even slightly interested in any type of gaming. So I asked myself recently, I wanted to brush up on Dungeons & Dragons. 5th edition is out right now. That seems to be the game that most people are going to be playing nowadays. Or, based on, and since it's been out for about, I think it was released in 2014. So it's had some time to basically for people to start adopting it. The books are out, certainly. How do I start playing, or what should I get first to start playing? And everyone recommended to me this box, the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition starter set. It's only $20 US MSRP, and it actually comes with a lot of stuff. For 20 bucks, this is actually a lot of content. You've got yourself right here a 64-page adventure book, a 32-page rule book, 5 pre-gen character sheets, and 6 game dice. Now, I think dice are cool. I really do. I think these dice are cool. So we're going to be taking a look at all this stuff pretty nicely. But for 20 bucks US, especially when a lot of these, each one of the manuals that they recommend, like the Monster Manual and the Player's Handbook and the Dungeon Master's Guide by themselves for the 5th edition are like $50 a piece US. At least that's the MSRP on them. You can probably find them cheaper on Amazon. But when I went to the store today to take a look at all the books that were being carried, the 5th edition books were quite expensive. They were like $50 a piece. I'm not saying that that's unusually expensive. I've certainly seen hardcover books at higher prices, but it was out of my price range, certainly, at least for right now. And all I wanted to do was just have enough information for me just to get started for right now, and this is what was recommended to me. Now, when you get these things, they're going to be shrink-wrapped. I removed the shrink wrap in advance for this video. It was very easy to remove, so make sure that when you pick this up on a store, because I picked this up at my local Barnes & Noble, that it is shrink-wrapped just to make sure that everything is still in there. But you're going to find, once we lift this up, sorry about that, you're going to find this in the box, it looks like. So you're going to be looking at this with me for the first time. I'm not going to go too crazy into this stuff for copyright reasons. I don't want to, obviously I want you guys to pick up these books yourselves and stuff like that. But this right here is, I think, what is this? This is the first thing that's up. It's called The Lost Mind of Fandeliver. This looks like a module. It doesn't say rule book or anything like that, so I'm pretty certain this is like a module or something like that for like a low-level quest. Like I said, I'm just guessing that that's what's in here because the box did say that this is going to have like quests for like characters that were marked from like levels 1 to 5 and stuff. So this is probably like a module or something for those characters. So it looks pretty meaty. I think the box itself said that this was like a 64 page guide. It certainly feels like a 64-page guide. So it's nice. It's glossy. It kind of feels like a magazine. So it's nice, and it's definitely got art in there. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, let's move on. We'll hold the dice on for just a second or two. All right, this is the starter set rule book. Okay, so this looks like this looks like this has the rules for what to play. So I'm probably going to want to check this out first, or read this first. If the box said this is probably 32 pages from the weight of it, it's made of the same, it feels the same as this. So these two look like they're both made of the same material. Again, it feels like a magazine. So that's kind of cool, actually. So this is some instructions and guides on that sort of thing. I was told, actually, and this was based upon my research of the launch of the 5th edition, if I remember correctly, I think this was what was released first, at least for the 5th edition, because the Wizards of the Coast that own Dungeons & Dragons currently wanted to get these, at least something in the hands of players in advance of like a major con. It might have been Gen Con, it might have been Gary Con, I can't remember, but there was a major convention going on in 2014, major for RPGs, and the publisher wanted to make sure that at least one of the books was available so that people could start playing 5th edition at that convention. And so it might have been this might have been the first thing to come out. It might have been the Monster Manual, now that I think about it, but we were told that any one of those books was enough to, there was enough information, at least any one of those books that could, that people could play on, but who knows. Okay, moving on. There's some background for you. These look like character sheets, and these are pre-made. These are pre-made character sheets. So this one's marked for a fighter that's human, lawful good alignment. So it's already got all the character sheet information filled out on it with some information about the characters. So I played games when I played Free RPG Day. When I was participating in Free RPG Day last year. I did use pre-made character modules. We were not playing Dungeons & Dragons. We were playing a different pen and paper RPG. But, yeah, so I am used to seeing pre-made character sheets like this. Don't know if I'd use them myself, but, these would be perfect, I guess, to use the for the quest module. So that's pretty cool. Yep. Okay, so I got a fighter here that's also human. I don't know how I would play. Maybe, what do you guys think I should play? And this looks like an ad for D&D Encounters. Looks like an advertisement. Build a character and play a store near you. Dungeons & Dragons. And this looks like a D&D Encounters character sheet. That's blank. That's something to talk about. So, finally, we've got these dice. These look really cool, actually. They don't appear to be translucent. I know that a lot of people were like, they kind of play with translucent dice. I know that other people don't want to. They're a really cool color. I don't know who manufactured them. My girlfriend actually got me, for my birthday last year or the year before, I can't remember, as a nice little gesture, she got me a Chessex 10 dice set that was like I think it was a mixture of blue and steel, like blue and steel color or steel gray. These look just as cool. Like I really like. I mean, that for me was the high bar for dice color. I really like that color. And I'll be honest with you, I was looking through a couple of hobby stores and stuff like that, and I couldn't find any dice that were as cool a color, at least being sold, that appealed to me. And these are pretty cool. This is a really cool color, so I'm very happy to see this color. So it looks like we got in here this is a D6, obviously. This is a D4. This looks like to be a D12. Okay, so this is a D12. I think that this is a regular D20 right here. That looks like a D20. What is this one? This is a D8. I think that's a D8. Yeah, it looks like a D8. This one looks like a D8. And this looks like a 10s. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. This is a D10. So this one's a D10, it looks like. So you've got a D4, a D6, a D10, a D12, a D20, obviously. We're probably going to need more than just these. Most players are probably going to need more than just these, especially since I've seen some calls where like you would have, or I've heard stories where you've had to roll like 3 D20s or 3 D6s or a D100 or something. So I can imagine that there's nobody who's going to be in a shortage of dice. So that's interesting. All in all, I guess the question is is this worth the $20 US? I would say absolutely. A set of dice about this size almost would probably go for like $10 on Amazon alone. So just that alone. Plus you've got the pre-made character sheets. You've got a full module. You've got a manual with a rule book. In comparison, like I said, the hardcover books for 5th generation are like $50 a piece on an MSRP. That's of course in US dollars. So if you're watching internationally, it might be different in your area. But for 20 bucks, this much stuff, that's freaking awesome. So props. I guess I'm gonna have to start going through this and give my thoughts. But I guess Maniac has now joined the Dungeons & Dragons bandwagon, so if you have any thoughts or ideas, please post a comment below, at least for what I should buy next. Until next time, guys, my name is Maniac with GamingSuccess.net. Take care, over and out, and I'll see you at CT GamerCon April 1st and April 2nd at the Mohegan Sun. Take care.